So, I found this. I want to hit record today. I almost forgot about it. I don't really forget about anything now. But, here we go. Alright, sorry about that. I found it. Okay. This one just makes no sense whatsoever. At least not to me. I'm sure it did at one point, but it's seems nonsensical, and I'm not going to try and figure it out again. But on a challenge for how to be a supervillain, it says 1. Make sure your alias has a reliable and believable alias. Back up fake name you've gathered and duplicate them with a passive random generator duo so that not even you know who you are. 3. Keep reading. Okay. 3. Using current technology, back up your original. And in parentheses it says, or what you now may think be the closest to such a thing, using multiple FIDO32 devices. Also invest in encryption-based keys as well for step 4. Find the best online sites giving away free cryptocurrency and set up bots to have them eventually routed to your cold storage wallet. Spend as much time and/or money towards trading or mining the new ones unknown to the public, or have fun and just make your own to cause some disruption in the current financial system. Step number 5 would be minions. This is a must. By now you must have at least 100 identities, a dozen you may know and or have access to. Join any social network and buy followers through the ads you'll no doubt recurve soon thereafter, and follow and retweet anything popular like obviously fake porn sites and herbal supplements hyped up connected to movies with promises to make people limitless. Within a few days, you should have a few thousand followers. 6. Fans. Now, just because you have followers doesn't mean they'll be worth much more than a continued cycle of addition to those followers. Ad revenue from the social media sites and whatever phishing info your programs decide to come up with. All this is all nice and dandy for your average internet user outside of AOL, or perhaps even someone wanting to call themselves a villain, to be a supervillain. This is just the beginning. You need to start funneling through your identities first to find out how many are still viable. How many are named from social media, how many are phishing, and where that info is being sent to. Now it is also the time to look into what and who are monitoring you. Obviously, with the Google Chrome add-ons able to block surveillance from government organizations, total anonymous browsers, emails, and computer operating systems are the perfect place to start when deciding which main alias you would like to to start a can base in. Time for some new equipment. Number 7. No doubt whichever machines you have been unsung thus far are riddled with viruses, malware, spyware, and all sorts of other goodies you can piggyback on once you get your anonymous setup on a completely new network setup. Both PC and Apple should be included. Linux and any other new thing like Ubuntu or Fedora. Basically anything that will be around for 20 or 30 years before anyone is even aware of it, like Bitcoin. Which you should now have at least a couple of hundred thousands of dollars worth. 8. Now that you have a secure setup and can process, and that process of funneling has become somewhat familiar to you, 404 can now hopefully start that process towards step 5 and get those bots separated from real life actual people available to be manipulated towards your goals. Again, this should be a relatively easy step. If at this point you can't figure out what to do with these resources available, quote unquote, religion, news, governments, just any overzealous organization, perhaps supervillainy isn't for you. Certainly isn't for me. And you should just stick to regular villainy or any other popular scams that are floating around the internet, because now is where the real work begins. Now, what really interested me was the collective consciousness. Someone got 3 likes, and I think uh, someone actually said it inspired. Another one said terrified. So, kind of caught in the middle. Oh, I've heard of the old ones talking about. I think this on. I can't. It's gonna take too long. We've what happened? Oh, we were. I thought. Actually, I couldn't even see the thing was still recording. I thought it was paused. Anyway, uh, oh, I've heard of the old ones talking about the collective unconscious, back when technology was built around us instead of inside us. But today it is hard to tell whether or not the collective thoughts and recordings are conscious or unconscious. As always, with more answers only bring more questions. Now, this is going to be a little bit confusing, of course, but bear with me. There'll be quotes there. These indicate thoughts. Shut up with the shit already, my mind snapped at me. Another chimed in. Yeah, learn how to operate your brain, noob. Leave the kid alone, a more calmer thought came. You all had to learn too. Well, tell the kid not, quote unquote, not to be so goddamn narcissistic. Laughter filled my mind as I tried to breathe and close off the connection. Narcissism. Is that even a valid term anymore? He's doing it again. Who's it doing what? Don't try and be esoteric. That's not the right word, man. Fuck you. How do you know I'm the, how do you even know I'm a man anyway? The flood of thoughts trying to find the location of the last thought was almost too much to handle, so I went back to thinking of the past. There obviously was an unconscious, even if it was kept from us today, same as the old one's thoughts and dreams not aware to us was deemed to either be not worthwhile or perhaps not worthy of us to know, which is where the word esoteric would be more applicable, I thought. Oh, for fuck's sake, it isn't that hard to control your mind, you ass. I actually made an attempt to send out my thoughts this time. Perhaps for those who are already brain dead, but there are still some who want real freedom. The calmer thoughts opted back in again. I wouldn't think like that if I were you. An actual silence followed. They have gone. What do you mean? They have shut you out. The old ones you refer to them did similar things to those not conductive to the collective. You mean mental disorders, right? I do, but back then, even those who were disruptive to the accepted norm were of use to society due to the business of creating diseases and medicines to maintain and worsen such things. But today we know better. We can control our environs and our thoughts, which you need to get a handle on soon if you don't want trouble knocking at your pod. I hesitated, and for a moment, almost feeling proud, thought, what kind of trouble? The kind that doesn't bring on pride but emptiness. Disconnecting from the collective is possible, as I'm sure you know, but it only leads to another collective. There is no freedom because there never was. Why are you feeling me this? Why help me? Why do you assume I'm trying to help you? So I call an anonymous to help me, because I am a good person. I am an agoraphobic person. I am a social phobic person. In 30 years, all I've ever been, in the few times I've tried, I've never been outside. The few times I've tried to go outside, I have been used, abused, robbed, pretty much almost killed. Uh, just basically a doormat, but that's how I was raised. I harbor no resentment. I'm not a criminal. I'm sure you know that already. The society I have lived in has confirmed it. I have worn the mask outside and have had police tell me not to do it. I do my best to not hurt everything, including the bugs that crawl around my feet because I am too afraid to clean, because Lysol and even natural cleaners have warnings on them about how toxic our air is. The water that I drink is barely clean anymore as the United States slips into a third world country. I just want to be happy. I want to be loved. Because I just don't want to be alone. I have almost too much love to give. And believe me when I say that I am painfully straight.